You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 20th meeting of the LaPorte County Board of Zoning Appeals. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Tuesday, May 20th, regular meeting of the LaPorte County Board of Zoning Appeals. Please rise for the pledge. Eric, lead us.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's start with roll call.
Vern Shaver,
Here.
Ernie Schmidt,
Here.
Eric Poynton,
Here.
Jeff Baltus.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Righty. We had elections. Why is it on the, the agenda? Okay, we'll have the approval of minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the last month's minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the April 15th meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed?
I think we need to make a motion to move item number 6 on this agenda to table it till next month.
Okay. There's been a motion made to table item number 6 on our agenda till the next meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Tabled? Before we start, for those of you that are new to this procedure, I'd like to just say that we will call the petitioner as we have our petitions in order here. We'll call them to the stand, and they'll state their name and address and speak briefly about their petition. And then at that time, we will ask for any questions. And then we'll also ask for, after that, we'll ask for remonstrance either for or against. Now, during that time, you can come up and speak for or against that particular petition. But I want to remind everybody, and this is, Melissa does this too, that public comment is in the form of remonstrance here. You don't get to talk after the petition, so if you have something to say, do it during the time of remonstrance, either for or against. So that's just a reminder for the order of things this evening. Okay, we'll start with the first petition. The petition for variance of use for the LaPorte Expo Investment LLC, represented by counsel Anthony Novak of Newby, Lewis, Kaminsky, and Jones, to operate a convenience store with gasoline sales in the area of LaPorte County Zoned B1. Property is located at 7098 400 North, Michigan City.
Notice is adequate.
Mr.
Welcome.
Schaefer, members of the board, as Vern indicated, my name is Anthony Novak. I am an attorney at Newby, Lewis, Kaminsky, and Jones in LaPorte, located at 916 Lincoln Way. I'm here tonight on behalf of petitioner LaPorte Expo Investments LLC. Here with me tonight from LaPorte Expo is one of their owners, Mandeep Singh, who goes by Lucky, and then their controller, Krishna Subramanian, who is right there. So tonight, as Mr. Schaefer indicated, we are seeking a use variance to operate a convenience store with with gasoline sales in an area of LaPorte County zoned B1, which is the zoning classification for neighborhood commercial district. As indicated in the petition, the property is located at 7089 West 400 North. Technically, that's a Michigan City address, and it's probably an address you've drove by many times. It used to be the old Cool Spring branch of the LaPorte County Public Library, which has sat vacant for a number of years following the library selling it to what was a LaPorte Hospital entity back in 2017. That's changed. The property has changed hands a number of times, and now it's owned by Development Alliance LLC, who's the current owner, subject to the purchase agreement to sell the property to LaPorte Expo Investments. Development Alliance has consented to us filing this petition as shown on Exhibit 2. LaPorte Expo is not unfamiliar with convenience stores with gasoline sales. Whether it be LaPorte Expo or Lucky, they have at least a few in the county that you'd be familiar with. The Phillips 66 at 613 Pine Lake Avenue. If you're heading into LaPorte and you go past Tsunami Car Wash on the left, it'd be that next gas station that you run into. Maze Mart at 3204 Monroe Street, which is a Marathon gas station, and then the Amoco gas station at 1031 East Lincoln Way. So as I've indicated, this would be at the intersection of Johnson and 400, which, while the zoning classification of B1 indicates that it's a neighborhood district in which there is a neighborhood around that area, that intersection has become a little bit more commercialized over the years. So in that immediate area is the new location of the Cool Spring Library, some medical office buildings, a Horizon Bank location, and then just behind the property at issue here is the Cool Spring Volunteer Fire Department. So as indicated in our petition, details of the proposed use are as follows. So it's looking like it would either be a BP, Amoco, or Marathon. It'd have 4 pumps or fueling stations covered by a square canopy, giving ample room to drive around those fuel pumps. Hours of operations currently would be projected to be 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., and the plan is to preserve the current building as much as possible architecturally, widening the building entrance, putting in some more glass so that there's more visibility in and out of that structure. The convenience store itself will then have food sales, and then attached it to our petition as Exhibit 3 is the conceptual site plan that has been prepared. The reason this is a conceptual site plan versus a more detailed site plan like you may see in a special exception, first of all, with the use variance, it's not technically required, but second of all, the petitioner is just trying to see here ultimately if the use itself would be approved prior to spending additional resources on construction drawings and other things of the like. But as you can see on this conceptual site plan, there's going to be parking spaces that would be added to the east and north side of the building while preserving the current access points off of Johnson and 400. No new curb cuts are proposed. Those existing access points that were used for a number of years for the public to enter and exit the library would exist. The retention area pond on the northwest side of the building would be added. That's along Johnson Road. The underground fuel tanks would be proposed to be located on the east side of the real estate, closer to Johnson and 400. The underground septic system will be on the southwest side along 400, and the existing well, which is on the north side of the real estate, is either going to be retained or potentially a new well would be placed there. So ultimately, those are the details of the proposed use, and what they're seeking tonight is that use variance for convenience store with gasoline sales. That'll conclude my presentation, but I'm certainly available for questions, as is Lucky and Krishna. Thank you.
I'll entertain any questions from the board. If we have no questions, then I'll ask for any remonstrance, either for or against. Please approach and state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Edward Lake, and I live at 7241 West 400 North. And I'm here to speak. Thank you, first of all, for letting me speak on this issue today. And today I'm standing in opposition to this zoning variance, and I have 3 main contentions. Contention number 1, having a gas station at this location presents serious health risks to the residents in this area. This site is located in close proximity to a number of residential properties that use well water, and gasoline stations will certainly have spills and leakage from tanks, which will contaminate our water table and will result in serious health issues, including potentially cancer. And even small amounts of spillage and leakage can be detrimental on health. So that's especially important since the residents in this area do drink from well water. One Johns Hopkins University study that found that on average 40 gallons of gasoline is spilled at a typical gas station at the pumps per year. And there's a number of scientific studies that I can pass along that said that indicate that it should be at least 500 feet from any water systems in order to ensure proper health. So that's contention number one. Contention two is it's going to increase congestion, accidents, and hindrance of emergency vehicles in that location. So the intersection of 400 North and Johnson Road already has a number of highly trafficked establishments, including the Cool Spring Library, Northwest Medical Center, Horizon Bank, the Comrade Medical Center, and of course the Cool Spring Fire Department and Swanson Center. So adding this additional establishment to these 6 major establishments will certainly increase the congestion in that area. In addition, the Cool Spring Fire Department is located next to this proposed site, and I think the increased congestion may restrict the road access to these emergency vehicles. And also, besides that, of course, the entrances and exits on that busy intersection, I think, could cause a hindrance and safety concern as well. There's a number of turns. Obviously, the intersection is not a perpendicular intersection, and there's a number of cars that are going to potentially be exiting and entering the gas station, potentially posing a danger to travelers. And my third contention is there is no additional need for this gas station. There's a Marathon gas station less than 0.7 miles away on the same road, and another gas station 2 miles further down on Johnson Road. And there is no particular need for this additional gas station. So, and also I just have a point, LaPorte has more gas stations per mile than any other county in the U.S. as far as I've researched. So those are my 3 contentions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, I'll also now entertain any comments or questions from the board on this issue. I will say every one of those things that you brought up in your remonstrance, I considered. As I read this, the traffic flow is probably greater than it was when they built the library there. There is spillage at gas stations, and without considering that there's a lot of well water taken from that area, that's a good point. So I agree with you on some of those aspects. But also, the drawing that they gave us is very nice. And I'd appreciate that too, because they put a lot of planning into this. But I also know that there's probably some questions from the residents in this area. Ernie, anything to say?
A couple years ago, they were considering putting a roundabout in there. I don't know if that is to figure in on this or if that roundabout got canceled, but that might change the configuration where you would want to put your tanks.
I haven't heard anything about that. Anybody?
Well, I can make a comment on that. I was a county council attorney at the time, and they were discussing it. Mr. Decker's put that to an end. So I don't think they're looking to do a roundabout there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion from the board then.
I would ask for any other. I think there's more people that want to talk.
Okay. More remonstrance? Sorry, I didn't mean to miss you there.
No, you're fine. We're all good. My name is Alan Collegier. I live across the street from the Swanson Center at 7255 West 400 North, Michigan City. I just wanted to add to the fact that they were talking about food sales. You know, that's going to produce a certain amount of paper. I can speak for that because I'm outside with a rake quite a bit. And I'm always concerned about people walking in the neighborhoods, and there really is no place out there for people to navigate to try to cross the street to get to if they want food. I'm always worried about noise pollution, and I'm concerned about light pollution too, especially since there's a commercial thing where we'll have more light and more noise pollution and more paper. and more people on the sidewalks, which don't exist. Everybody is, and believe it or not, they do exist, that people are walking. Where they come or where they go, I have no idea, but, you know, it is a concern too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I also want to tell you to state your name and address too when you come up,
Okay, doke.
and pull the mic down so we can hear you. Hey,
Oh, thanks.
I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to.
First time I've heard that.
On your stature.
Wow.
We can hear you very good now. Thank you.
Okay. It helps, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, very good. My name's Rick Bradford. I live on Wozniak Road, about a half a mile away. I own property that's just a few hundred feet away from there. I'm remonstrating against the variance to let them put this in there. First of all, it is a neighborhood, it's its own neighborhood. A business that's open from 5 in the morning till 10 at night is going to be very unfriendly to a neighborhood. I know they're not looking at putting up a home, but I have to have 2 acres to put a home in the county. They've got less than 1.5 acres out there. The runoff also, because they're going to have a lot more concrete that they're going to have to cover. So as you cover up all that grass and trees that are going to have to come out, that runoff is going to have to go someplace. A septic can't handle it. I'm also concerned about the size of the septic system that they're going to have, you know, especially if they're preparing food. They're going to also have an area that you're going to have to hold your waste, as somebody else already mentioned. You're going to have to keep that caged as well as it can be done. There still will be some stuff running around. But that runoff is one of my major concerns. I own property within feet of the place. There's a big ditch now that the runoff goes into off of the road, and it will have to come out of their parking lot as well. It's going to go through that ditch behind a lot of residents in the area, and eventually that's going to end up in Trail Creek. People, yourselves, I'm sure, drive the area, know what it's like, how busy it is there. As far as traffic, I noticed that the library didn't even have access from Johnson Road to the library. The new library they put in, that access is on 400 for safety reasons, I am sure. Right now, a lot of traffic that comes through there, when the traffic light is busy or certain times of the day, the traffic cuts through the fire department parking lot. I've been nearly hit 3 times by traffic coming through there. They don't even slow down. Not their fault. You know, it's just the way it is. But that's going to increase the traffic patterns that are there, especially if they're not going to do any new curbing or have anything more than the simple egress and ingress that's there. And if it goes in both directions, I don't see how it can even work. There's a lot of accidents there now. I think somebody already mentioned that it's not a 90-degree intersection. It's kind of odd. It runs at an angle when the road used to come down Johnson and cut over to 700 right there. So I am just asking that you consider all these other issues before you make a decision. And thank you for your time and letting us all come up and speak.
Yes, that was the timer, by the way. I didn't mention that. But
I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's my fault. I'm kind of new at this, but we try to limit our comments to like 3 minutes. But that's
Understood.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'll put the mic back.
The next person might be short too. Any other comments on this issue?
I will touch on
Yes, we have another.
retention. The runoff, they do have a proposed retention area on this drawing. That was a concern of mine as well. But there is, and it's not my place to make sure that's adequate, but it is on the drawing. So as far as runoff, that's not shouldn't be a major concern.
Yes.
Rory Bunce, 374 Timber Ridge Road. I own Development Alliance. I'm the owner of the building as currently. I certainly understand everyone's concerns when change comes. There are a few things I'd like to keep in mind. Anything that goes in there, you know, they talk about the well and the septic and the things that are happening. And quite frankly, that's what the codes are for in the county. Anything that goes in there has to meet code. So if the code's unsafe, it has to be changed at a code level. And obviously they have researched what's safe and unsafe. The other thing that's important is I've been doing development in LaPorte County for 25 years now. And every change scares people in the neighborhood, and I understand it. But there are a certain set of circumstances that go with a property. Once it's considered commercial, anything can go in there. It's not designated as to something you like or you don't like. This particular property, what I'd like to point out is that it was owned by LaPorte Hospital. And in order for LaPorte Hospital to sell it, they put deed restrictions that are extreme. It's limited. Nothing can compete with the hospital that owned it for the next 99 years. So there's already limits on this of what can go in there. It can be nothing medical. And by the way, medical is, you can't have a salon that does acupuncture. You can't have a dentist office, an eye doctor. I mean, it's an extensive term that they're saying can't be there. So I just want to point out that everyone has an idea of what would be the perfect thing to put in there, but there's already limits. We found someone who wants to invest in the neighborhood and invest in our community and do it by the code and the standards that you guys or the county has established as safe. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments for or against? We'll see, there's been a lot of good points brought up here, so a lot for us to consider. Now I'll entertain a motion. Nope.
And if you may, just to kind of rebut and just to kind of put a bow on it. So ultimately, whatever would end up going in there, you know, when it comes to the concerns about environmental and traffic and safety, we're going to, of course, comply with whatever existing ordinance are, state statute, federal regulations. You know, Lucky is, as shown by the various other establishments that he has, that he's going to make sure that this is done right. To Eric's point, when it comes to retention, things like that. When we go through the planning phase, we're going to make sure that everything is adequate and is going to be able to house what needs to ultimately be done there. I don't disagree with some of the sentiment here that it's a residential area, but what I do want to point out is that it is not residentially zoned. It is commercially zoned as business. And although it's in a business classification that requires a use variance, it's not dissimilar to what's going on 0.7 miles up the road with the other gas station that is also in a residential area with likely some wells too. So I certainly always understand and you know, I'm concerned with the sentiment expressed, but this is something that we will make sure is done right and to code.
Thank you. I got to keep looking around here so I don't miss anybody here again. Obviously, we wouldn't need a variance if it was just a convenience store, but because of the gas situation, it becomes a bit of an issue that way, and I understand everybody's concerned about that. Are you guys ready to make a motion now? Are we done?
I'm done. Are you ready for a motion?
Sure. I'm entertaining it.
I make a motion to not approve the variance.
Second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to not allow this variance. We'll have a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Variance is denied.
Thank you for your time.
We'll move to the second petition tonight. And that's a petition for variance of developmental standards for Richard and Tony Ream for construction of a third accessory structure, 12 by 16. you can approach and state your name and address.
Notice adequate.
Okay, thank you. Mike? Doug?
My name is Rich Ream. This is my wife, Tony Ream. And we live at 7894 East South Hudson Avenue. In Hudson Township. And we've been there since 1981. And we're the last property on the south side of the existing road. We would like to put in this structure, accessory structure, which is 12 by 16. And it would be basically a storage shed.
Questions from the board?
No.
I do have a question, actually.
Sure.
So in this picture, it looks like it's staked out next to an existing shed.
Yes.
Will this shed be removed?
No, that's why it's for the third accessory structure. It would be in addition to.
That one's small.
So the detached garage, then this shed, and then a new shed?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
That one's only 10 by 12.
The location that you're looking to put this on the property is not really well defined in my picture, unless you guys can tell me where exactly will it be located?
May I approach, please?
Sure, you may approach.
He's looking at it very.
Our house is this tiny shed, 10 by 12, and this is the 12 by 16. But I wanted to show you because it's really simple.
Yeah. Okay.
The other people who live nearby are on the west side, and then there's one on the north
Oh.
side.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. You've seen this? Yes. And I'm going to show you guys.
I was there today.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll ask for any remonstrance either for or against this petition right at this moment.
Yeah.
You sit down and you may approach. Sure, come on up though and ask your question so it's on record. And once again, state your name and address.
My name's Mike Gleisner, 7882 East South Hudson Avenue. I have property adjoining their property. I do have a question. Is this going to raise my property taxes with that addition of their shed?
I'm not the assessor, but I would.
Mike Schultz's number.
I should think not.
Okay.
I'm not the assessor. You have to ask Mike.
The assessor just raised my property taxes $60,000 this next coming year, and I have a little concern about they keep going up.
I've got the same problem.
Okay.
But I appreciate your comments, but I don't know if one has anything to do with the other.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not an assessor.
Okay. You know, I just wondering, so I don't have a problem with it then. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other remonstrance for or against this petition? If the board has any questions, they can reapproach.
I'm fine with
I make a motion, we approve this.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the petition. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Good luck. Okay, our third petition on the agenda tonight is a petition for variance and developmental standards for Ricardo de Santiago, I hope I didn't screw that up, for construction of a detached garage with a height of 20 feet instead of 18. Will the petitioner, are we good?
Notice adequate.
The petitioner will approach and state your name, address.
Hi, Yesenia Casares, 326 Hollis Street in Mission City. We are here on behalf of Ricardo de Santiago for a detached garage of 20 inches high.
Any questions from the board?
No.
I was looking at the beacon map, and it didn't look like there was a home there, but then I was informed that you've just constructed a home.
Correct.
And it's this is in addition to it, and it's in our pictures here. So,
Is there anyone?
do we have any remonstrance either for or against? Seeing as how we have no remonstrators, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to approve this petition.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the petition. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Good luck. Petition number 4, petition for variance of developmental standards for Duke Sherwood and Brittany Johnson, joint tenants for construction of a second home on property located at 4156 North, 900 East, New Carlisle.
Notice adequate.
State your name and address.
Deke Sherwood, Brittany Johnson, 4156 North, 900 East, New Carlisle.
Will you tell us a little bit about what you got going on here?
So we purchased the property about a year ago with the hopes of being able to build behind the current house. We have almost 12 acres. There's a house in the front that we would like to have our kids live in. We have 5 kids between the 2 of us, and we'd like to build our house back behind the current house. There's a tree line there, and I think we have plenty of room to do it.
It'll be just your family. You're not renting the other house after you build a house.
Not at this current time.
What is your plan for the current home is?
To have the kids live in it.
And you would be moving into the new house? You're not going to give the kids the new house? What kind of deal is that?
Think about it.
Do we have any remonstrators against this petition? Either for or against? I'll entertain questions from the board then. Any other questions?
Are you separate drives, separate
Oh, the building?
property?
The driveway would be,
It'd be like shared in the beginning and then go straight back. So where the driveway comes in, it would come in, go to this house, and then it would continue back and go around to the back house.
I was gonna say, if I approach, I could show you.
So that goes to that house, so you would be driving around that way. Is that what you're saying?
Do you have this picture up there?
Yes. We have it.
Okay.
With the drawing on it where you...
Yeah, so basically where this comes in, when you come in, that goes to the house, and we'll just be driving past it.
So uses...
You're sharing a
It's
driveway.
share, and then, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. My concern about things like this, personally, is the fact that if something, there is a future involved here, and we're not all going to be here forever. You got two houses on the same property sharing a driveway. If you wanted to sell a house eventually, or if you tore the one down, it wouldn't be a problem. You just have one house left. But with 2 houses on the property now, how do you sell a property with no access? You almost have to create some kind of an easement to get to that house. And again, this is my personal feeling that you should actually have a recorded easement to that facility, because the future is going to be there.
And part of that's for your own protection.
It's for your own protection, and I don't even know how you get financing without some kind of an easement to get to that house.
Well, they own the property, though.
You own the property, but eventually, if you wanted to sell the house, no one would be able to buy it without a recorded easement.
You can't get an easement.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from the board?
There's enough frontage there if they ever had to do something to.
Yes, but
you know,
then
put a
again,
secondary driveway in, or.
Yeah, we thought about like doing 2 driveways right there, or however,
Right.
there's room, yeah.
there is a future involved here. But we're being asked to grant you a variance, so I guess is there any remonstrance for or against this from the gallery? If not, I'll entertain any other questions or a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this variance for Deke and Brittany. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passed.
Thank you.
Good luck. Our 5th petition on the agenda tonight is the petition for special exception from Marilyn Jones and Kimberly O'Rourke for keeping of goats on a property zoned R1A with less than 3 acres and construction of a second accessory structure with a height of 23 feet instead of 18.
This is adequate.
State your name, address, and...
Good evening, guys. Jimmy O'Rourke, 11656 West, 300 South in Westville. I'm here on behalf of my wife, sitting over here, keeping goats on the property. As you guys can see, we got a pretty decent shelter and a pen set up for them. If you guys got any questions, I can answer whatever questions you got on the goats. They're 4-H use. We'll be setting up a second shelter within 90 days. Water and electric lines will be underground. Hopefully after you guys let us build a barn. The goats are leased out already. I know that we have people around us had some concerns about how loud they are. The breed of goats are La Manchas. She can talk about that. She does more with the goats than I do. But they're the quietest. She tells me they're the quietest breed. So, I know there was some concerns about stench and some other stuff back there during the summer, and it's minimal compared to...
How many goats at this time do you have on the premises?
Hi, my name is Haley O'Rourke, 11656 West, 300 South, Westville, Indiana. I'm his daughter. So currently we have 10 goats. I have 5 up for sale currently. 2 of them have already been sold. So we're trying to drop it down to 3 or 4. Year round, I'm hoping to have only 6. But they are La Manchas. No, I did not cut their ears off. Promise. Just with evolution over time, their ears have gotten smaller. But yeah, no, so the breed of La Mancha, it's known to be quiet. Their smell with their manure is not bad. I walk back there every morning, every night and feed. The only time that I ever smell them was when I'm in the pen. So, I don't know.
Are these 4-H goats?
Yeah, I was a 10-year 4-H'er, so I showed goats for 10 plus years. I did 3 years of minis, so I've kind of owned my own goats for the last few years now. But we ran into a situation where the last barn they were at, they weren't able to house them anymore. It was kind of last minute transfer, so it was a last minute building thing.
These were the goats that were at 187 Country Club Drive that I'm sure you all heard about a few times. So,
my question is, what do you do with the waste?
we till monthly. I got a rake goes behind a tractor. You just till it into the ground. I mean, I don't know.
So you're using it for fertilizer on your property?
Goat manure is as big as your thumbnail.
No, I'm familiar with goats,
All right,
believe me.
well, sure.
My grandkids got them too.
There you go. So,
okay, so we're good.
You till it up and it just goes in the ground.
They're not La Manchas, but they're into boar goats, something you can eat. I don't know La Manchas, what they're good for, but
They're good for milk produced then.
I get called an old goat and I'm not good for much anything. So, do we have any remonstrance in the gallery? I'm going to ask for remonstrance at this time. We do have a couple of letters of remonstrance that the board is aware of, I think, on this. And there's 1 for, I think. There is 2 against and 1 for.
Okay.
Do you have any comments from the board here? Or questions?
If we're gonna, are these separate petitions? Or is it the same for the goats variance and the building variance?
It's the same petition, but you can vote on them separately if you wish to.
Okay, I'd like to start by saying I'd like to approve the petition for having the goats as long as you don't exceed like some massive goat farm that's gonna.
Believe me, I don't want a massive goat farm.
I understand.
She only feeds half the time. It's my butt going out there.
I mean, I'm a 10-year 4-H member. The reason I'm on these boards is to represent Purdue Extension, so I'm fully in favor of.
If I may, Mr. President, can we agree on a number?
Yeah, that's what we need to. We need a number.
So you're breeding, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So you're going to have, say, 6
Yeah, 6
goats,
year-
which would have then
At least-
potentially 12
Yeah.
kids, and then you're going to that would be 18. So then you're going to sell the kids.
Yep.
Is that
Can we just
roughly? I mean,
20 a good number? We can agree on that?
Just so we got enough.
because we're gonna. Yeah, I mean, we're going to
No more
sell
than 20
off.
at one time, so yeah,
say
you'd be-
20 at any given time throughout the year. If you're safe with that,
Yeah, and I really
I'm
don't
fine
want to
with
have
that.
20 back there.
I don't
yeah.
blame you.
Yeah, it's.
So I make the motion to approve having the goats on the property with a maximum amount annually of 20, no more than 20 goats.
I'll second that.
And for discussion, I'd like to say that these goats will be housed where? Because we haven't approved a building. Do they have a building at the moment?
So they're in a shelter right now. They're in a 6 by, I believe she might have pictures of it. Or you
Yes,
guys might have pictures.
and they are in the back lot.
Yes, they're all the way in the back lot. So their shelters will stay in that pen. We'd like to put up another mobile shelter back there and possibly break that into 2 separate pens. We just haven't had time to do it yet. It was kind of a hurry-up deal.
For like when you're weaning and stuff?
Yeah, so we got a separate pen set up for them. And any separate pen would have its own shelter in it, so they always do have shelter. Any separate pen would have its own water in it, stuff like that.
So as I'm hearing this correctly, the motion that is that we want to approve the goats, but not more than 20 goats? Is
No
that
more
the motion?
Yes.
Correct.
There's a second? Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second to allow goats on this premise, but not to exceed 20. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Aye.
Aye.
We have 2 for and 2 against. What do we do? I'm not the tiebreaker. We have 2 for and 1 against. Am I a tiebreaker?
Can I answer any questions that the opposed have?
My creator. We have 2 for and 2 against on the goats now. That's with me voting. Am I to abstain and then?
No, you can vote, but we need a majority to pass. So it fails.
Would you like to modify that number?
Well, you fully well know how breeding livestock goes.
I know.
Goats have
At least
1 to 2.
But I don't know how many females you have. You want to limit
Said she's going to have 6 females.
Maybe she doesn't want to have 6 females.
That's what she said. She wants to have 6 females.
Change your mind.
If you don't change her motion, she's not going to have any.
Yeah.
It's just.
What do you think, Ernie?
My question is, you're in between 2 other properties. Is the buildings and the manure going to be stored in the center of your property so it doesn't infringe on the neighbors with runoff? And
The manure is going to be tilled monthly, or I can do it bi-weekly if they'd like. I have a tractor with a till on it that I can run out there. We've done it twice already.
Work well in the winter months, though.
Yeah.
You are correct. I can haul off if we have to.
What about the neighbors? They're putting a garden in.
Yeah, they would use it for fertilizer. The neighbors to the west of us that are for it would not be opposed to using it as fertilizer. That's Matthews. I believe they wrote a letter for us on this.
Yes, there is a remonstrance for and 2 against.
Yeah.
And
I'm not.
so
Can I ask what the issues are with the against and we can address them?
the issue is, since all 4 of us have been on farms,
Yep.
we're entering the fly season. So just doing what you want to do once a month, that's not going to solve that.
Okay.
So you're going to have to come up with a better plan so the neighbor that's opposed to this doesn't get all the flies all summer.
Okay.
So you tell us what you're going to do to address the fly situation.
I can haul off once a month.
That would also help the runoff situation that the neighbor's concerned of if you're not tilling the ground all the time.
Very true.
So share what you're going to do, because then that might break this tie.
Yeah, I mean, I can till every other week and I can haul off in the months that, in the summer months if we have to. If tilling doesn't work, we can, I'll haul off if I have to. There's not much else I can do with manure. We have cows down the road. We have other livestock in the area that create the flies and create the stench and create everything else. I'm just trying to do the best we can for goats that are already leased out. But yeah, I don't know what else I can tell you I can do other than hauling off.
So you're leasing to help for other 4-H'ers
Yeah, we have
out.
signed leases right here I can show you from 4-H youth that will be showing these goats at the county fairs. That's what these goats are for. They're show animals. They're not like we're out there we breed them to, well, she breeds them to sell them, let me clarify that. And then we have kids that show the babies and stuff like that. So every one of those goats that's out there right now is leased out. My son included, my middle son included, will.
The more you talk, the better the rest of us are understanding what you two are going to do.
So isn't that what 4-H is all about, Fern?
There's no question about this,
No, and I understand their concerns because I don't want my property to sell
I also
either.
know that we have to, as a citizens board that we are, that we try to make sure that it doesn't infringe on the rights of your neighbors.
Right.
And we're trying to come up with a solution here to a potential problem.
You know, I'm a nice guy, and if they come over and said, hey, man, we got an issue with the stench here, I would be addressing it every which way I could. I'm not in this to make my neighbors unhappy. I mean, I know me and my east side neighbor have a tiff, but it is what it is there. So, you know, I don't, if that's the same concerns, we can look into hauling off every other week if we have to.
I'm open for an amended motion that's a little bit more specific about waste disposal.
Can you provide a buffer zone for the pasture side that the neighbor and you have a difference on?
There's a 20-foot buffer zone there now. I mean,
well, can you two talk and see if he
absolutely
thinks
will not
another
speak
10
to me.
feet would solve the problem?
He will not speak to me. I will try it. I will try that. So we moved the fence once already because they had an issue with it. I believe Ashley was the one that came out there, and you could see that I believe he was the one calling every day saying, hey, he's on our property, he's on our property. But then when she comes out there, he's mowing 10 feet away from the fence still. So I'm nowhere near his property.
Okay.
So we moved the fence back another 20 feet. So I'm the better part of what I believe is 25 foot off the property line now.
Okay.
But if he'd like it moved more to help it, I don't. I'm just going to be honest with you. You've been on farms, 10 feet's not going to change the scent you're going to get in the summer if there is any scent.
Well, I'm thinking the runoff.
But there shouldn't. Yeah.
Well, if you have a buffer strip there, is it a woods right now, or could you plant a heavy grass that would help, like a filter strip?
Yeah, I can plant grass there. We've already planted it.
Yeah, I just put grass seed down 3 days ago.
Okay, and then where would you pile the waste, the manure? It looks in the pictures like you have adequate straw or bedding or hay that's wasted so that's going to get pushed up into a pile and hauled off.
Yep.
Monthly.
Yep.
Okay.
The buffer strip planted the grass should solve any runoff problem.
Yeah, I would say that's going to.
Yeah, I mean, we're inside the property lines by I believe 10 feet on one side and 20 on the other for that reason. And I'll make sure, it stays mowed to stay nice, but that's the buffer. There's not going to be runoff. When we put this in, it's got elevation changes in the ground back there. It's not just flat. That way it does hold waste and whatnot in a certain area, so it's not running off.
I have a point of question. I talked to Ashley about this afternoon. Is there, according to Article 14, they're allowed to have goats without a variance? Is that correct, or is that not correct?
That would be if there's more than 3 acres.
If there is less than 3 acres,
no,
there shall be the following acreage for each animal. It's what it says in the ordinance.
Also, I've been out to the site. The pen has been moved, and it is 100+ feet away from any other residence.
Right, but the fact that the goats are actually there is not illegal. Is that correct?
How big is this parcel?
2 acres.
2 acres.
It
2
needs-
acres. Not allowed under 3 acres. This is residential, right?
That's why they're here, because they're
Right.
under 3 acres, so they have to get the approval from you to have them. If they had 3 acres, we wouldn't be here.
So with 2 acres, they are allowed
20.
We can't allow 20 goats.
That's the max they're allowed to have per the zoning regulations.
Okay. So how long would the kids be on your property? Like when would you start kidding, and then roughly when would once you wean them, sell them, and they'll be leaving?
So typically I'm having babies around anywhere from March till May. I do require that the babies go to the fairs with the dams, so with the moms. So fair's typically July, so they'd only be there for a few months, and then as soon as fair's over, they're gone.
So then you're back down to 6.
Yep.
Which is very
But they're on your
manageable number.
farm until after the fairs, is that, they stay on your
Yes.
property?
So
Okay.
you're looking,
Then your population, goat population goes down until
Goes
the
back to
next
6.
next
Yep.
kidding season.
Correct.
Okay.
Can we re-vote on it?
Do you want to revote on that motion?
Yes.
So we'll have a revote on the original motion that states that they are allowed a maximum of 20 goats at any one time, and during the season. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Looks like you got your goats. Now we're going to talk about the building.
building, looking at putting up a pole barn, 40 by 60. Under the original drawing was showing 40 by 80. We've since drawn it back a little bit. 16 foot walls, 412 pitch puts me at 22.6 on my peak height. So I'm here for a variance to build a 22 to the peak, 22 and a half foot building. The existing structure that is at the edge of my driveway right now will be removed within a couple months. We can say 90 days of the one I'd like to put up. The existing one's an eyesore. I'd like to tear it down anyways, but I know my one neighbor is not happy with my stuff in the yard. This is to put my stuff in a building, not in the yard.
Mike, do you have pictures of that proposed building site?
Here. The picture is in the.
Oh, it's on the second. I see it.
Yes, sir. I can approach and answer any questions you got if you'd like me to. The existing structure would be north of the pole barn by about 60 feet right now.
Okay.
So where you see my driveway come off of out of my garage on my house, the existing structure is 10 feet to the south of that driveway.
So I'm 40 by 80 by 16 feet with a 23-foot peak.
22.6, yes, sir.
And that's because of the pit roof.
Yeah, I'm going 16-foot walls. I work on stuff. I'm putting 14-foot doors in. And obviously, I'm not going to fit in just a foot of room on top of a trailer or something like that if I got a 14-foot wall. So I'd like at least 3 foot to be able to try and get up there. Dump truck, if I got to raise the bed up a little bit, I can get it up in the air a little bit.
Personal comment after I've read the remonstrances that I think that if you would clean up the area by building that building, it would go a long way toward neighborly relations.
I 100% agree.
So I make a motion, we pass the building.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we allow the building. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you very much.
Hope you and your neighbors get along.
Me too.
Okay, the next variance would be petition for variance of developmental standards for Jerome, deceased, and Linda Beatty for placement of a shipping container for storage and keeping of goats and chickens on less than 3 acres. Property is located in off of 600 West in Hannah.
Notice adequate.
Okay, state your name and address.
My name is Jerome F. Beatty III. My address is 13471 South, 600 West, Hannah, Indiana. I only had a handful of chickens and 4 goats. Currently, I gave them away because I was told I had to. If we do get approval to get them, I would like to get chickens again in the future. I may or may not get goats again, if approved. The shipping containers for storage is behind the garage. It's really not even visible from the road, really. Yeah, we're just hoping we can keep what we have.
Do you have any livestock on the farm or on the premises at the moment?
Not at the moment.
But you have had goats and chickens in the past?
Yeah, I had 7 goats, and then I would say I had about 12 chickens before.
And the shipping container that you're asking for is what size?
It's 40 feet long, 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall.
And for storing?
I store like my lawnmower in there, my motorcycle, and parts for like cars that I own.
I know you have other buildings on the property I've been past.
Yeah.
You don't have adequate storage without the shipping container. Is that what you're telling me?
It's for extra stuff like I said, like my motorcycle, my lawnmower and such, car parts. I have a few cars that I'm restoring. Inside the garage right now, we're working on a car currently. So
the shipping container is already in place. It's already there.
yeah, we didn't know about this zoning issues beforehand.
You're not planning on another one at this time?
No, just currently one. That's it.
Okay, those are just my questions. Any other questions from the board at the moment? Do you have any remonstrance for or against? Would you be seated so we can listen to the remonstrance? State your name and address, please.
Good evening. Name's John Spoljaric. Live at 13453 South, 600 West in Hannah, which is the house just north of the Beatty's house. Yes, you cannot see the container or anything like that from the road, but you can definitely see it from my backyard. This is a huge container, and there's also a bunch of junk vehicles back there. I don't know what stage of repair or disrepair they are, but there's a huge pole barn there. And I don't know why anybody would need, with a barn that big, an extra container to keep car parts in, unless you have a car part business or something going on, which I don't think you'd be zoned for in that area anyways. As far as their goats and everything that they had, yeah, they had them till they just ate everything in the yard, including the stuff off of my fence, which is their... When I first moved out there, I was the only one on that property. It was just a total bean field. Put my place up after we found out what the zonings and everything were for it. Put the house up, put a fence back in there, a light duty fence to keep my dog and pets. Well, that light duty fence is now 26 years old, okay? It's being used as part of their livestock fence on my side of the property. It's a thin fence. It's not meant for that. The goats climb on it. They eat the branches off of the shade trees that I had growing alongside the fence there, plus all the grapevines and my blackberry bushes that I had growing on there also. So I'm not real pleased with the goats thing. As far as the shipping container, it looks like a lot of clutter. Basically, it looks like the start of a junkyard back there. And I didn't move out to the country from Porter County to LaPorte County to live next to that. Everybody else on that whole area is copacetic with what is supposed to be in that neighborhood. Okay, it's a single family housing, light agriculture. It wasn't meant for that, for businesses. I was told I couldn't have a business out of my property when I first built out there because I inquired into it. I raised some animals out there too. I had a couple of sheep that I raised out there way before these people even moved to the place. Okay? And they were there for one season and they were butchered. They're not there all year round like the other animals were. The smell, you guys know what goats smell like, especially male goats. In the summertime with them guys right next door to me, it'll gag you. I have nothing personal against the people.
Okay.
Nothing there. That's great. I didn't move out there to move next to that. And it wasn't like that until they turned it into that.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? Any other remonstrance, either for or against? Come on up.
Just real quick, Mr. President, this and other cases like it many times are complaint induced, meaning that my office will get a complaint, we'll investigate it, and if we find that it's against the zoning regs, we contact them, we let them know it either needs to be corrected or they have the opportunity to file a petition for a variance. That's the case on this matter, and as well as many of the other ones that come before the board.
Okay, thank you.
He was speaking about our, excuse
Pull
me,
that
my
mic
name is
down, will
Linda
you?
Beatty. Oh, sorry, I know I'm short.
Thank you.
My name is Linda Beatty. I live at 13471 South 600 West, where they were referring to. As far as the pole barn goes, about half of that whole pole barn is a woodworking shop. There's nothing being sold out of our pole barn. Yes, we have parts, and the reason we have parts because my husband was working on antique Mustangs for our other kids, not to sell to anybody. And anyway, I think we've done everything that we should have done. And as far as the fence, we had no idea he had a problem with that fence. He told me this yesterday, or 2 days ago, whatever it was. And I told him point blank, if you'd have told me, we could have put a fence up. I had no idea.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Thank you.
So as far as
You've had your opportunity to speak, sir.
if you did have if you did have any chickens or goats in the future, you would put your own fence up or make adequate pin if that's something.
Yeah, I was actually planning to reinforce the fence, but I'm also planning to put up a privacy fence as soon as I can. I just haven't had the money yet. I'm in between to a new job recently, so I just started. I'm about a month in.
Okay, thank you.
So you're going to reinforce your neighbor's fence? Is that what you just said?
No, I was gonna build a fence on the inside where my fence would be. So just adding a fence in front of it.
Okay. Thank you.
We're back to this same thing of separating this out and voting on it separate.
Yeah, this is about two actual issues here. Again, it's
technically three.
So
Well, I'd like to start with a storage container and say no to the storage container.
Is it already full?
It's full, but like I said, it's behind my garage in my backyard. It's not visible at all from the road. If I put up a privacy fence, you won't even be able to see it from his yard.
Okay. Would you like to put that in the form of a motion, Ernie?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion the storage container be removed.
Do I have a second?
My problem is you got us over a barrel. Once you remove it, then if all that stuff's just in the yard, that's a bigger eyesore than a storage container.
That's a different issue.
That's what I'm saying. And we're not
There's
code
three
enforcement,
issues.
so anything that's in the yard is not, that's a different,
You folks don't make this very easy for
If
us.
I may, let me be clear. We don't have code enforcement.
well,
Yeah.
right, like we're
Right.
not, that's
Okay.
not us or like Mr. Beege says, anyone for that matter, so. Plus it would be Mike's office that would make sure that it was installed correctly in the first place, so. That would be a second. If we did say yes, that would be another thing that you would have to make sure that there was a foundation and a tie down and all of those points, so.
Well, if we don't have a second on Ernie's motion, do we have a motion any other direction here on the shipping container?
Oh. We've approved so many of them.
Yeah,
I can't make the motion for you, gentlemen.
I'll make a motion to approve the shipping container with, Mike's office is going to go back out there and tell you that it has to be within the specs of the county, and it may have to get moved. It may have to, there may be expense involved with that as far as a foundation, a stone or anything, so.
It's going to have a foundation
Yeah, it's
and
gonna
tie
have,
downs.
and tie downs.
Concrete foundation, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Footings and anchor.
Footings and anchor.
Time frame. We gotta put a time frame on it of some sort.
We don't have to put a time frame on. You have to, once you go back out there and tell them what they have to do, then.
Right, we'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, that's on you, right? Yeah, so.
So the motion currently is that you are making a motion to allow the shipping container if it's installed correctly.
Yes.
Second?
May I add something, Mr. President?
Sure.
Maybe this is a better motion to make in the reverse. Or the shipping container removed within a certain period of time unless it's brought up to building standards. If he doesn't do it, it makes it a lot easier for me to enforce it that way.
If you remove it within 6 months, if it's not brought up to building standards.
Yeah, we get the same place that way.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the motion on the floor is that the shipping container will be removed within 6 months unless it's brought up to code. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Again, we got a tie. 'Cause I'm opposed to it also. We need 5 people here tonight. What do we call Melissa? I don't know how to make this better, but I think that a tie vote goes to as a nay. So that means the shipping container moves. I would suggest a better storage of your parts, either a building within permit rather than a shipping container, and to move your part storage inside where it's more acceptable to the neighborhood.
All right. Yeah.
Can I ask the petitioner and the board to direct my office with a time frame for removal of this? If you can give them what's adequate for you and they can confirm it, that'll help me.
6 months? Gonna give them 6 months?
I'm fine with 6 months.
Okay, so the shipping container will be removed by, when 6 months from now? December 1st? We'll call it that.
That works.
Okay? So your petition for the shipping container has been denied, and it has to be removed by December 1st. And if you come up with another plan for storage that's more suitable to the neighborhood, come back to us. Okay?
So even with the privacy fence, though, it wouldn't matter or make any difference.
The shipping containers will
There's
be-
no further discussion. They voted on it, okay?
Yeah.
So your petition is denied.
Okay, so now we're back to livestock on a 2-acre plot. So what's your proposal for number of birds and or goats?
I only have a handful of chickens, less than 20 at most ever. Goats, I don't plan to really get again. Like I said, I was getting rid of them. I had 4 though at the time. So 4 less goats, up to 20 chickens.
Motion for chickens?
Make a motion to approve.
I
Number.
Can I amend that?
Sure.
On the number, yeah, go ahead.
I'll add on to Jeff's motion that no more than 20 chickens, no more than 4 goats, as long as you make a proper fence for the goats and it does not affect the neighbor.
All right, thank you.
Second?
I made the initial motion.
You made the motion without goats.
Do what?
Did you make the motion without goats?
Yes. Well, no, it was all together. Supposed to be all together. But you amended it, so can you?
So can I second my own amendment?
No.
That's what I'm getting at.
You're fine to vote. You can go for a vote.
Okay, the motion on the floor is that we will allow up to 20 chickens, no roosters,
No roosters?
no roosters, and 4 goats, no more than 4 goats. All in favor?
With proper fencing that
fencing.
doesn't affect the
And
neighbor.
the fencing should not be using the neighbor's fence. Use your own fence.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. You get your livestock, but be careful.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good luck. Okay, the next item is a petition for variance developmental standards for Gerard and Rosemary Bonilla. Bonilla? Is it Bonilla or Bonilla? Bonilla, okay. For construction of a 3rd accessory structure garage placed to the side of the home instead of the rear. Doug?
Those is adequate.
Thank you. state your name, address, and tell us a little bit about what you're going to do.
My name is Gerard D. Bonello. I live in 125 Elder Drive. It's in Fish Lake, but it's in Walkerton, Indiana. I own 9 lots, so I'm building a pole barn within that 9 lots.
No, it's not.
10 lots?
Where our house sits. My name is Rosemary Bonello, 125 Elder Drive. Where our house sits, on this side we have empty lots. We want to put a pole barn there. It will be 10 feet off our property and 10 feet from our house. That's what the regulation is for that for the fire department.
Okay, does everybody understand?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any remonstrance for or against? I believe we do have a remonstrance for. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have one. Please be seated and come on up.
Mike and Corrine Fitzgerald, 119 Elder Drive. We own the property at 119 Elder Drive.
Okay.
And our main concern is that it's put up according to the ordinance, the 10 feet, over, but we have an issue with the property line because we believe our property line goes to, there's a green utility box in the center of that. And that's what we believe it is, but we would like to request a boundary survey to make sure that it's measured correctly.
It's a question for legal here.
Yeah, you got to go hire a surveyor. The county doesn't do those for the citizens.
Okay.
If you need a reference, call their office. They've got.
Who pays for that?
You do, or you can split it. A lot of times when there's a dispute on the property line, the parties will split the cost.
Okay, how do we go about splitting it or what? We just,
Agree with your neighbors that you'll each pay your half. And then you can call a surveyor, find out how much it is. Okay?
yeah,
All right. Yeah, just call the building commissioner's office. They'll give you a couple names.
okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
If we're going to talk about getting a boundary survey, are we going to have to put this off until the survey is completed?
If it's not adequate spacing.
If it's at your discretion, I don't know how much room we have there.
It looks like it's pretty tight.
It's pretty tight, so if the boundary moves, they're not going to be able to get 10-foot of clearance between.
How far do you think the boundary is off?
We're actually a foot off our property. They know it because we showed them where it was. When Mr. Peterson lived there, he put that boundary and he said that's where it is. We're a foot off our fence line.
Well, I think if you say 10 feet, or that's what they're asking for, whatever amounts you say, you can grant it on those terms if you choose to, and just put down what your requirements are for your spacing, and the line is where it is. If it's closer, they'll have to come back.
Then say the size of the building would have to be 26 feet if it was.
Yeah, I'd specify the size of the building and what you want your setback to be.
Depending on the survey. Okay.
That's how the motion would have to read. Okay. Be seated for a minute. Is there any other comments or remonstrance for or against?
I have a comment, Mr. President. This is, in the legal description, it indicates a subdivision, so there should be a plat, a survey plat already recorded. If it doesn't provide enough information to determine that the property boundary and there's not agreement there, we do have a list of registered land surveyors in LaPorte County that we can provide.
That would be between the two landowners then to consult with the building commissioner and come to an agreement on a boundary. Okay, once you do that.
I wouldn't recommend give them any advice on that. We're kinda going into my job.
Okay.
And I'm not going to
I'm not going to be, I don't want to be a lawyer anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion.
What is the
for or against this petition?
What is the height of this building going to be? Is that going to be?
From the ground to the top, maybe 12 feet. You're talking
12 feet.
Okay. I was just making sure you wouldn't have to come back because you wanted to build a 20-foot tall building.
Building on top of that.
Yeah, okay.
But there are limits to how tall you can go with a building. That's the question. Okay, you want to make a motion? Worded correct?
As long as I would make a motion to approve this building, given the fact that the property line dispute gets resolved, and then the building would have to be, the size of this building, if it is, might have to be a little smaller depending to get your 10 feet on property line and building size. I know that probably is not the most efficient.
May I
way to say it,
interject?
But
I think you can approve it, but not make it contingent on the property line resolution. You
Gotta
got to
be
just say
10
the
feet from
building
the
would be
property.
28 by 32 with a required 10-foot setback.
okay.
So that way we got a max, right? If the line's somewhere else, they could always reduce their building on their own because they got the variance, at least for this part of it. Okay?
Okay, so make a motion to approve it with the proper 10-foot setbacks.
Sorry.
On each side of the house and the,
Feet off my property line.
correct.
Yeah.
Second?
I'll second.
Motion on the floor to approve this variance. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed? Good luck. Get together and get your stuff done. Okay, the ninth petition, variance of developmental standards for Tracy L. and John Ortiz for construction of primary home on a landlocked parcel. Access will be through an existing easement. Property is located in Mill Creek, Lincoln Township.
Good evening. My name is John Ortiz. I currently live at 1627 South, 875 East with my wife Tracy. We're putting in this petition for variance to build a home on the lot that would be initially be 1631. It's about 3 acres. It's property owned, or it's family owned property. Eventually, the 1627 and the 1639, the easement runs through will be ours. It'll be willed to us. Up at 1631 was the original farmhouse, so there's existing power, there's sewage, there's no problems with any of that. It's all been there at one time before. And the house will be about 2,000 square feet, sitting right in the middle of the lot.
I've been looking at this before off the beacon map. I noticed that this easement crosses several properties.
Yes.
This is a recorded easement, or what is
Yes.
it? Yeah, obviously it's a driveway to get to this property.
Yes.
Step forward.
39. My uncle owns 1639. My mom owns the 1627 property. The easement goes right through both of their properties.
Okay. This easement, is this recorded, or is this just,
I'm not sure.
doesn't have a stamp on it? But it is an easement to get to that property.
Yes.
Yes.
So you guys want to see this easement?
We actually bought the property from her uncle with an existing, everything's there. We just chose to build up there. It's going to be our retirement home. And we chose to build up there to keep it away from 875, the road noise and whatnot. It's up in the woods a little further. So.
The easement's legit. I mean, it's already there.
If you've been.
I was there today.
Okay.
It's already.
The easement actually goes all the way through the property up, and he owns more. He owns like 30 more acres up in the woods. And it actually goes clear up into there.
Okay. Is there any remonstrance for or against this, this petition? Any questions from the board?
How do you plan to mark this driveway so I know and the EMS and stuff know that your house is back there?
Of course, it'll have the one that's on the street that the county requires or whatever, the little green tab. And then her uncle's is marked well. We got a big log. Her mom's is marked, and then ours will be, there's 2 poles that sit in the beginning of the property, and it'll have the address.
Is that there now?
1 pole is there now. But then, no, they won't let us actually make it an address until there's a house on it.
Currently, it's just wooded.
Well, yeah, we're clearing land property, we're, marking things out where things are gonna sit, and it's still under construction.
Is there any remonstrance for or against this petition? Okay. Any other questions from the board? Motion, please.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve this variance. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Passed.
All right, thank
Good
you,
luck.
everybody.
Boy, I hope they mark it better than they did today.
Okay, the next petition is the petition for variance developmental standard for Ellis Island LLC for construction of primary home with a front setback of 13 feet instead of 25 and a waterway setback of 65 instead of 75.
Notice adequate.
State your name, address.
My name is Dave Streeter, 638 West, 250 South of Hebron, Indiana. From Jade Construction. I've been asked by the Ellises to build this home. You say primary. It's not their primary. This was the uncle's home. They own the garages across the way. And so in December, we took down the old house that was there. I think Mr. Ellis this is a summer home for family. So one of the 4 nephews that owns the property has purchased it, and they're out of LaGrange, Illinois, and this will be a summer home for their family. So he's got 3 or 4 kids.
It'll be the primary home on the lot.
Yes, primary home on the lot. Yes, correct.
So the house that was previously there has been demolished?
Yes, it has.
Okay. Any questions from the board at the moment? Is there any Oh, go ahead.
Was the existing home the same floor plan as what this is?
No, existing home was very weird. It was a garage that was 3.5 foot thick of concrete underneath of it. It had it was not, they tried to keep it, and it just was a block home that had 3 additions and didn't even have a bedroom. Had open rooms. It was very weird setup.
How did it fit in there with the setbacks that's required?
They were closer, actually. They were probably, if I'm not mistaken, they were under 10 feet to the road. So, but they knew, I told them when, I think I'd asked about this earlier, when we demoed it, that they would have to go to new updates. But yes, it was a block building, and just, there was no way we could make it work. They tried to make it work. But like I said before, they own the buildings across the way, the garages across the way, or the family does.
The current septic field, where's that at?
There's no septic there. This is a
Sewer?
sewer.
Oh, it's okay.
Sewer.
You got no issues there?
Yes, sewer comes out to the road. There was a well. Well is going to have to be on the backside of the house.
So it's well water, but
Yes, sir.
city sewer.
Yes, sir. Current structure is still on there. We didn't do anything with the I think there's the deck or whatever that was on the lake. It's still there. We never touched that.
Any other questions from the board? You want a 13-foot, you'll be 13 feet from the street rather than 25?
Yes, sir. Because there's no garage on the house. The garages are across the way.
So is there any reason that you can't shove the house closer to the lake?
Because it's already 10
It's already
feet
too
close.
close. So,
Too close already.
yeah.
What would the building commissioner like? Would they like it closer to the lake or closer to the street?
It's up to you.
How many square foot is the proposed house?
I think it's 3,000, just under. It's 2 stories.
You know, I don't know if of course, we don't seem to have any remonstrance here from the neighbors, but obviously it's pretty close to the street. But then again, it looks like the house next door isn't too far either.
Yes.
Some of these houses didn't fall in that ordinance either, did they?
Right. We went out, I think when we put the sign up there, we had it all surveyed, and I'm actually farther back than the house.
Next door.
Yes.
Look at next.
Most all the houses there.
So are you gonna park your pontoon in front of it like the neighbors and have it out in the roadway like theirs?
No, they have a really, no. They have their garage and everything,
Yeah,
but no.
that's what's there today. Pontoon boat out in the driveway, or out in the road.
I don't have a pontoon boat.
No, but the neighbor does.
Yes, I know.
And you're asking about the same distance.
Yes, but I don't.
Well, it's a question that's got to be asked.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. But no, the idea with this is just they've got young kids. And the idea with this is to be there all during the summer. So the primary residence for the summer.
Most of the activity that takes place at these lake homes is in the backyard, not in the front.
Yes.
Right.
I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I guess, would there be adequate parking? So to Ernie's concern that there's not vehicles and things in the road?
Yes. So they have, right now, if they have a trailer in front of their garage, they have a couple 19, the uncle, I didn't know him that well. In fact, I didn't know him at all. There's probably 6 cars in there, 1930, 33. He had some old cars there in the garage. So he's got a six car garage across the way. So plus all the parking in front of it.
So all the parking would be across the road?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Ernie, I think you got to ask for a remonstrance.
Nope. Do we have a remonstrance? Sure. Come on ahead.
Laura Ostergren, 15 Elm Drive. I'm the neighbor to the north, I guess. I'm not against it. I've only met them once with the young kids during last summer. My concern is parking and just the narrowness of the road and being a dead-end road. And if you're having visitors and whatnot throughout the summer, it does get pretty chaotic. Yes, out there, your front of the house is the lakeside. So you do want to have more room on the lakeside, but my concern would just be parking. And from what I understand, the one nephew owns the house, the other nephew has the garage, but that doesn't mean the nephew that owns the house can utilize the garage. So again, it's the parking is just kind of what I question, and the safety of other vehicles going in and out on the road. And I would like to know if he's going to get rid of the tower, but that's not discussion today.
I agree with you that 13 feet from the street doesn't
pretty
have
close.
adequate parking in front of the house. If they have a yard, then I don't know what's there now. Is it all concrete or what is it in front of the house? In front of the old existing house? Was that a yard?
The road.
Just the road?
Yes.
They're 13 feet from the road, and that's what they're talking about now, putting a
Yeah,
house.
when John's house was there, it had the garage and the home, and he basically had one kind of parallel parking space for their vehicle, because there was just one car.
Right.
And the garage was part of the home. It wasn't, the attached garage was part of the home, the living space. So out in front, there was really just one space to park a car. And then his garage, which is across the street, was all of his collection. So they didn't really use that. But again, I'm not against it. I just don't understand the parking situation.
Do you think, I'm going to ask you a personal question. Do you think that if the house was back a little farther, it would ease some of that?
Yeah, I would think so, because I would think him owning the house would have to have his own parking space, not relying on the garage across the street, because he doesn't own that. So that's his brother's, from what I understand.
That's kind of what you were thinking. Mm-hmm. I think Ernie and I are on that page too. Just I don't know if that's a question for the builder. Would that be possible to move the house back 6 feet, 10 feet farther back?
Anything's possible. It's not up. Anything is. So that's what we're here for today.
Well, it would.
Because two brothers own the garage, and he has one part. I don't know the whole specifics.
But if we were going to pass an ordinance,
Yes.
we would have to set that distance.
Yes.
And if we set the distance at a point farther back and taking away some of the front yard from the lake, so to speak, it's a possibility. It's just thinking out loud here. then we'd give them a
well,
place to park in front of the house.
There's a possibility of purchasing some of my side to at least have kind of a drive or a parking space there, possibly.
But we can't do that negotiation
Right.
here, obviously. But we're going to have to set some kind of a, if we're going to.
I would suggest you table it and see if they can work out a deal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just guessing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, my
Right.
concern is the parking. I don't want to take away from their home. And yes, the lakeside is what you want to have more living space and enjoy your yard. But the roadside, it's probably, to me, it's very tight.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it. Would you, do you have any other comments from the gallery here? Okay, then come forward again.
This is
I'm gonna,
I would say is, in looking at that, when you start pushing back on the lakeside, you're really pushing the place. I mean, we're talking a 2-story building.
Again,
So
I suggest we table it because Laura's willing to talk to him, and we're just
yes,
rambling on here at this point.
okay.
I think that's something that needs to be fixed.
You have a motion to table? That would mean you'd have to come back next month.
I understand.
And try to tell them to do a little negotiating with the neighbor here, and maybe we can make this work next
I
month.
think that's great. That's on them. That sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed? Okay, we're going to table this motion, and we'll expect you back next month with a plan that works. Okay? Petition number 11, special exemption for Kingsbury Investments LLC and Enviro Recycling for operation of recycling facility.
Thank you so much for allowing me to come here before the board today.
State your name, by the way, and
My name is Jim Ventura, and I'm with Enviro Recycling.
okay.
About 5 years ago, I came before this board with a recycling project. The board approved it, and a few months ago, we broke ground on a $75 million project that is creating a lot of jobs and taxes for the county. And today, I'm coming here today again to present another recycling project, and hopefully the board can approve it. Again, my name is Jim Ventura. I'm with the Enviro Recycling Center. Christian is part of our team, Christian Ruiz. And I do have a packet in front of you. Just a basic overview. What we're doing is we are proposing to build a recycling center, 3500 East Central Road, 20.07 acres, right across the street where we broke ground currently to build the recycling food waste project that's currently being built. This project will be $25 million investment. We have a award-winning architectural firm, or Malcolm, as part of our team. We are looking we have the support of the Solid Waste District Plan to reduce, recycle, and reuse. The facility will process a combination of paper, plastic, wood, cardboard, and tires into valuable materials and commodities. There will be no hazardous or medical waste processed on the site itself. The facility will create about 70 full-time jobs with sustainable wages. Also, we're going to produce about 30 jobs from construction and about another 12 to 13 ancillary jobs for a total of probably over 100 jobs. We're also focused as part of our development on housing, providing housing for the workers. We're looking at open lots, any houses that need to be demolished that we could rehab. You get employed at our facility, you go through a program, and we'll provide you an affordable housing with it. We're also doing a second chance program where we have a felony. You can still be hired if you go through our program. So we believe, we all mess up one time or another, and we deserve a second chance. We're asking the board again to consider it and to approve it tonight. We appreciate it. It's going to create a lot of jobs, a lot of taxes, economic development. We're excited to be in LaPorte. Matter of fact, I'll probably be moving to LaPorte soon. building a house here because, again, I appreciate LaPorte. They've been very good and supportive of what we've done. And our project will obviously prevent these products or trash from going to the landfill. It's preventing over 200 tons per day of food waste going to the landfill that has a lot of economic and environmental benefits to these projects that are proposed. So tonight, again, I appreciate it, taking your time and consideration.
Thank you. I have a question. Where does your material for recycling, where is it coming, where is it being sourced from?
Are you talking about the one tonight, correct?
Yeah, like
Okay.
the paper, plastic, whatever. Where's it coming
Sure,
from?
no problem. We have letters of intent, and they're coming in from probably, I would say, about 20-mile radius, including the LaPorte County area. So that's the target.
Okay.
So are we talking like our LaPorte County recycling that's picked up now would end up there?
Is that what you're saying?
We are bringing in, the municipal solid waste and tires in a 20 to 25 square area radius. And we are also looking to the companies we're working with. I think they're looking at getting the contract from LaPorte County, hopefully, for the waste disposal. And it does not compete, let's say we're a solid waste district, but it actually enhances because it keeps everything out of landfill.
Right.
And that is what the solid waste district's mission is, to recycle.
As citizens of LaPorte County, we have recycling picked up every Wednesday. That Waste Management or whatever picks that up. Do you have a contract with them?
No, we don't have a contract with them, but Waste Management has already contacted us already, and they definitely want to bring some of the waste there.
Mr. President, maybe I can add a little. I'm the attorney for Solid Waste District. I have been for a long time. Solid Waste District, they have collection days, but they contract, and I can't remember the name of the company now, but they will contract with a company to pick up everything in the containers. It goes to their centralized facility. Maybe it'll go to yours now. But they contract for the hauling. They don't have a lot of control what happens to it after that.
Right.
Okay.
This material that you get in, does it have to be separated and some of it has to go to landfill and the rest of it goes to recycling?
We will, Mr. President, we will separate it at our facility. We will separate the paper, cardboard, and plastics, anything that has a value. The rest, we will shred it, and we will shrink it and dry it so that less goes to the landfill.
Okay, so that happens at this facility that you're talking about building. Okay. I'm getting
just a
educated.
total recycling facility. And the whole goal is to avoid this going to the landfill.
So there'll be construction waste and everything, and
Yes, we're gonna have some C&D, but the majority will be MSW.
so then that'll get. I think I read in here that'll be like wood chips.
Yes, if you look at your packet, the products that we are actually making is gonna be wood chips. We're gonna be
So
doing
how tall would those piles be? That would be my
piles of
like
wood,
if you're gonna have. Are you
all
gonna?
enclosed.
It's all enclosed. There's
All
not piles of wood
complete-
chips outside
No,
that are
no.
30 feet tall like you
No.
see around in other
No.
places. Okay.
Everything's gonna be enclosed, and I was gonna ask something too before I forget. It's gonna be in a 60,000 square foot building, totally enclosed, negative draft, no smell. We're also gonna be, again, we're gonna be baling plastic, cardboard, and selling it in the recyclable market. We're gonna be making activated carbon, which is used in the medical field, out of the wood chips. And the tires, we're gonna be baling them, and we might be doing some shredding.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah.
Any remonstrators for or against? We have a person approaching, so be seated.
And I have a comment.
Come on forward.
Good evening. My name's Earl Miller. I work at Kingsbury Castings on 3232 Third Line Road out of Kingsbury. I guess I'll say that I'd like to remonstrate in favor of heavy manufacturing, heavy industry. This is the place to put it, Kingsbury Industrial Park. I'd like to remonstrate against the way that this board has handled the situation of the roads out there. It's a mess. I've gotten up in front of this board a couple times. I've gotten up into the in front of the Redevelopment Commission a couple times and talked. In fact, I was here during the Nexus one back in back in October, whenever that was. A $70 million investment, and none of it were demanded that you guys be put towards the roads. These are private roads. It's a mess of a situation, and we're kind of stuck. I've been working with Matt Reardon on trying to come up with a solution, trying to work together. We've worked with our neighbors in the past. In fact, I predicted that you guys would be driving on 3rd Road to get to the 5th Road site. And the young lady here that was leading the commission, she second-guessed me on that, but it was correct. They brought in hundreds of trucks a couple weeks ago, and they were all using our road. We have paid for and maintained that road, and in the past, we're continuing to do it, and we have thought that we would be continuing to do that in the future. There's now this idea that the county is going to take over the roads. That wasn't addressed during this, but it's been talked about for a long period of time, and it's frustrating because once that comes out, then it's going to be tough for our company to decide to put money into the road and our neighbors as well. And we need the roads maintained now. In fact, we've put in several $1,000s. Sims to the south of us has put in several $1,000s here just this week. We did it earlier this year. Some of the neighbors are helpful, others haven't been. It's a mess. And so what my ask is that you guys mandate when new businesses come in that they participate in the past infrastructure, the present infrastructure, and the future infrastructure, unless if the county is going to take over the road, right? If that's the plan, that's okay too, as long as the grants that you get cover the amount and we get reimbursed for what has already been spent, because we put a ton of money in. I know Jeff Johnson has put a ton of money in. It's a situation, and you guys need to handle this in a better way. I've got a lot of other things to say, but I know that I'll just leave it kind of at that we're stuck.
A question for you, from me, is would you like? Obviously, any business that comes into that area, you'd like them to contribute, but there's no teeth in this, right? It just has to be a voluntary thing.
It's been a voluntary thing.
Yeah, and it's not a good way to go. I'm involved with drainage projects on my farm, same way, and a lot of times guys want the drainage, but they don't want to pay for it. And of course, you need infrastructure here. I don't know if in the past, when you guys went with this other situation with the recycling of the animal waste, did you contribute to the roads? Can I ask that question? Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it.
President, when we were doing that project, we've had meetings, and we've talked about that, Michael knows, extensively. We even got our neighbors together to try either, I think, and I'm not going to speak out or nothing on record because I don't know, I think we were trying to have the county or something take it over. There was a lot of talks, and also understanding, I'm not speaking for Nexus and that development, but from what I hear is
I'm shutting it
that
down. This is way out of
by
the jurisdiction.
us investing
Way
that type of money
The roads are ours.
brings in the TIF money.
No, they're
also.
not.
And that is a
You know what,
TIF.
that's, we're trying to.
This-
Okay, yeah.
You can use some of the TIF money. Again, I'm not part of.
Mr. President, can I interrupt?
This is out of the scope of
You are way out of your jurisdiction.
I understand that, but I'm going to tell you, if we're going to approve these things, they have to have an infrastructure. And if we can't get our county to provide an infrastructure, I don't understand what's going on.
Here's part of the problem we have out there. I've worked on this as county attorney, okay? There are no easements. So the county can't put a road in without an easement. But not all the neighbors want to cooperate, and some of the main neighbors want paid, okay? And there's not money there to pave the roads. The county's literally been working on this that I know of for at least 15 years with not a lot of progress. And I understand the complaints, but this is not the forum for it. I wouldn't recommend.
If we're going to approve an ordinance to allow this kind of infrastructure or this development in our county, it has to have an infrastructure to go along with it.
I understand that, but that's one inherent problem with KIP. The Redevelopment Commission and Matt Reardon have been working on it. They really have. I worked on it years ago.
Is that working for you? Are they working on it very good here? How's this working?
We look at the amount of tax. Is this on? Look at the amount of tax that we have paid in real estate and property taxes. It's close to $100,000 a year. If you guys would just take that money and earmark it, that's just our company.
Again, I'm going to interrupt because this is a zoning board.
This is a zoning.
They don't finance anything. They don't have any authority to do that. And you're screwing up my record.
You're approving things without. You're using our land. We own the land.
The Redevelopment Commission is the correct forum for your complaints. I'm not disputing your complaints, but this is simply a review. Okay,
Matt's stuck on it, and there's no guarantee of any future money on this with Doge, with the feds.
They don't have the authority to do any of that.
That's
None.
what I'm saying.
It's like talking to a wall here.
Problem.
Well, we can't fix it here.
Let me jump in on.
This is the wrong board.
That's Redevelopment Commission. This is zoning.
For this petition, Nexus has agreed to pave this road.
Okay, and so I did not want to say that because I'm not representing Nexus here.
Right.
So, like the attorney said, this is a zoning meeting, not a
Exactly.
plan commission hearing, which is, I did economic development in Chicago for 25 years. So, I mean, I'm not trying to get out of what we're doing. This is a zoning meeting, all right? But I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, for purposes of this petition, the company Nexus has conveyed to us that they plan on paving this road privately. That does not solve the other problems that the other gentleman alluded to. Commissioner Hollyfield's here. He talked about it on the radio. The county's working on road use agreements. But for purposes of this specific petition, Nexus conveyed to us that they're
Can we make
paving.
this contingent? No.
No, because that's the problem. Not all the same people own the roads, and not all the same people are on the same page.
So I know this probably doesn't go along, I mean, probably none of our business again, but you're going to pitch in, because I know that the businesses out there, they do their own, like, snow removal and all these things. You'll pitch in with that as well?
Yes.
That's a gentleman's agreement?
Yeah. I wanted to make a comment. On the 60,000 square foot building, is it possible that we could put a smaller building, maybe 7,000 to 10,000 square foot, so that we could do the tires specifically in that building? Is that okay?
That would have to be another.
He's permitted for the use, as long as the building fits the zoning regulations and you get your state releases, I will give you a permit for it.
Or like in a small building next to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to remind the board, this is a special exception, so it's already allowed in the M1
Okay,
zone.
right.
The reason we have special exceptions is something like this, a junkyard, something that's out of the ordinary that we want to run by the zoning board to make sure everything's on the up and up.
That would be for safety purposes, I take it? The second building would be for?
Yeah, we want to separate it, really, like you said, for safety?
That's very, very smart.
Yeah, I would say so.
Any other comments or?
Yeah, and it's all indoors, not outdoors.
Right.
All enclosed.
That was my big concern. I mean,
Yeah.
I know this is an industrial area, we're trying to develop it, but we
wanna
kind of
do
want to
we
make
wanna
it look
do a
decent
nice,
and
clean,
nice.
safe facility, not a junkyard, basically. Guarantee that.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay, appreciate it.
Oh, I have one more question. So all this will be coming in by truck or rail? Any
Yeah,
rail utilized
there
or
is
all truck?
Next to rail, which is great.
All in and out via truck?
Rail we're gonna use, but it's gonna be mainly trucks
Okay.
coming in.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, and we're going to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we pass this.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we pass this ordinance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good luck.
Thank you, board.
We're looking forward to the extra income. And I hope that we can get this transportation thing solved, but it's not up to the Board of Zoning Appeals to do it. I'm sorry.
There's no money to do it. I mean, it's in process.
I do have to say, I tried to do it 5 years ago.
You need to get the neighbors together.
I drove through on Fifth Line Road, holes.
It's
deep today.
I know, and I don't understand why this county can't.
Doug, this is not the place.
That is bull.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to come in.
Okay, the next petition. We still have one more.
Yep.
Oh, no.
She's waiting patiently.
The variance for Jeremiah, and I hope this is worth your wait. Thank you, thank you. For running a salon.
I'm sure you guys are all ready to go
I need
home.
my nails done.
Sorry, not doing nails.
Haircuts?
Are we good?
Yeah, well, you need to read the petition.
Okay, the petition for variance, the use of Jeremiah and Crystal, is it Piazik?
Pisek.
Maya
Maya Pisek.
For running a salon in a detached structure. The property located in Rolling Prairie, 6995 East 150 North. Zoned ag.
No, this is adequate.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jemiah Pisek, and yes, 6995 East 150 North. However, it is Mill Creek is the mailing address, Wills Township. Yes, so just went through some significant changes in my life. I've had a cosmetology license for 22 years. However, that was my first profession, and it was my side profession. I was an educator for 16 years and recently early retired from being a teacher. 2 years ago, we adopted our daughter out of foster care. And so a lifestyle change was needed. And so now I'm a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling my daughter. And so now I'm wanting to go back into doing hair. However, since I've been doing it for 22 years, this is a case of it is family, friends, people I know only. I don't want any advertisement. I don't want any strangers. About 1 to 2 days a week with 1 to 2, maybe 3 of my current clients and friends only. Not wanting a big business advertised at all. We have a detached garage. It will need some construction though to facilitate the business and have it up to code.
So just your structure is already in place, but are you going to build?
So the garage is already currently in place. It will need to be remodeled. I would like a bathroom added to be up to standard, and a little bit of remodeling, which is all that we would need.
So you're out in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Are you planning on, you say you're not going to advertise, you're going to have a sign?
No, I don't even want to sign. I don't
sign?
want strangers showing up. No.
So you're not going to have normal business hours. It's going to be call you by appointment
only?
That's correct. Appointment only. Absolutely. Yep.
How many days a week would you like it?
1 or 2, and maybe 2 to 3 customers during those times.
Open yourself up so that you don't get restricted, okay?
Okay.
Weekdays, you want to do weekends too?
Yeah.
Set hour, you don't have to have set hours, but you should have it so that you don't have to come back to us and ask for more.
Okay. Tell me, can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, would you do this 7 days a week?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, and then it would be
20 hours a day.
Sure. Yes.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
We put some hours into this
Okay.
thing here that would work
Sure.
for you, like daytime
Okay.
or whatever, 8 to 5, something like that.
Yeah. I'm sure there will be some evening time in there
Okay.
as well. When people get off of work is usually when people actually want.
Obviously, I don't think there's anybody remonstrating for or against.
Yay.
Nice being last.
You're sure that you'll never want a sign, so you don't have to come back and ask for a sign variance?
That's a great question. What are the, if there were a sign on the front of the garage, not at the road, is that permitted ever or no?
If you approve the petition, she can have a 2x3, and we'll coordinate with her on that.
Already in there.
That would be
You happy
totally
with
fine.
it? I'll make a motion, we approve this petition.
I second.
All in favor?
Is it okay if we made a motion without your approval?
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Good luck. Thanks for
Thank
waiting.
you very much.
Hope it was worth the
Sorry to
wait.
keep you. I hope you all.
You didn't keep us, believe me. That was quick.
Thank you.
We got a lot of apologies to make to our cohorts here.
No, in that situation, could we have moved her up at the beginning? Since we knew that recycling was going to take so long on the agenda.
You're always able to make a motion.
I want to touch on that after the meeting's over.
To move around the agenda.
Early on.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait, are we gonna, wait. Are we gonna do new business?
Move we adjourn.
Wait.
We have any new business?
You have something to go first?
You do.
I just wanted to thank our honorable commissioner and councilman for attending tonight. It's always great to see your faces here, be involved in the process and everything we do.
I'd like to encourage our councilman to work on this road thing in the ordinance.
Steve is waist deep in it. For members of the public who they haven't heard him on the radio. He's been on the radio. We've talked about this. All of us have been involved in the road situation in one way, shape, or form. It's ongoing.
Do economic development in this county, we're going to have infrastructure.
It's,
Property owners, and off the record, one demonstrator is
Yeah, that's not
it's like an HOA with no rules.
Okay, again, we don't have anything on the agenda on this. We are a statutory board. We can't just shoot the shit.
And you're still on the record.
Now can we adjourn?
I just wanted one last statement.
Don't say anything about me.
For the public. Don't put shipping containers on your property and then have me or my staff come out there and make you file for a variance after the fact. The majority of them don't get approved. They're conditional. It's not allowed in the JZO. It's true that we don't have code enforcement, but we will enforce zoning code violations. That's one of them. The other one is junk cars. If you're in a residential area, don't start a junkyard. You have to have it plated, licensed and insured, and parked in the driveway. Not in the grass, not behind the house, not leaking fluids into the ground.
Can we make them clean it up?
That's not our
And apparently
deal.
nobody else in the county can.
That's not in our scope of.
So who
We'll
enforces?
talk about that off the record.
Are we adjourned?
Now we can adjourn. When the president adjourns.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn.
Aye.
I make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
We're voting before.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you for coming.